Now, this story has a little bit of a scary element. Um, I have had kids, sensitive, imaginative kids, have nightmares about this, but that was years ago, and I think kids might be a lot tougher than they were 20 years ago. It's a teaching story about minding your parents mostly. And the funny thing is, all of the things that the character's mother forbids him or tells him not to do are what we might regard as silly superstitions. And I learned this story once again from The People Could Fly by Virginia Hamilton. It's truly one of my favorites. Little 8 John. There was this boy named John who was 8 years old. They called him Little 8 John. Now, he was a handsome fellow, but looking good never fit to the way he acted. He was mean some. He never would listen to the good advice older people had to give him, and when his good mama would tell him not to do something, he would go right on ahead and do it. He was that way, just contrary. Well, once his mama told him, "Now, little 8 John, don't you go stepping on no toads and no frogs, 'cause if you do, you'll bring bad fortune to your family." Well, little 8 John looked right up into his mama's eyes, and he promised, "Oh no, mama, oh no, I would never do that. I would never go stepping on no toad or no frog." But as soon as mama turned around and went back up to finish her morning chores, what did that boy do? He ran on down to the pond and found him a toad and squished it. Then he found him a frog and squashed it. Why, he would have squished up and squashed up a whole bucket of toad frogs if he could have found 'em. Then what happened? His baby sister got a terrible tummy ache, and Mama's cows refused to give the good milk. All on account of you-know-who. Well, then his mama said, "Now, little 8 John, don't you go sitting backwards in no chairs, 'cause if you do, something bad is bound to happen." Once again he promised, but once again, as soon as his mama turned around to finish doing the dishes, he found himself a chair and sat in it backwards. Then he found another one, sat in that one backwards too. He didn't quit till he sat backwards in every chair in that house. Then his mama poured the sweet cream into the churn to make it into butter. Well, it should have just taken her 15-20 minutes of churning, but she almost churned her arm off half the morning. Couldn't make it turn no way. Then she made up some cornbread batter too, poured it in a baking dish, set it up on top of the stove, but before she could even open the oven door to put it in, it burned up in smoke and ashes right in front of her face. That boy, little 8 John, he thought that was so funny, laughing behind his hand. Then his good mama said, "Now, little 8 John, don't you go climbing no trees on a Sunday, 'cause bad things could happen from that, too." Well, he climbed one tree on a Monday just for practice, two on Tuesday, and by Sunday, you know what he was doing, climbing trees all day long. Then his papa's mules sat down in their traces and refused to pull the plow, and the potatoes sat in the ground refusing to grow. Well, then his good mama said, "Now, little 8 John, don't you go counting your straight white teeth, 'cause if you do, your family will get the short of money blues." Well, he counted his uppers, he counted his lowers, he counted them on a Sunday, a Monday, and every day in between. He counted them all till he counted them 8,400 times. Then his family went stone cold broke, couldn't find no money nowhere, not a dollar, not a nickel, shucks, not even a penny. Well, then his mama said, Now, little 8 John, don't you go lying down with your head at the foot of your bed, 'cause if you do, your family could get a bad sickness. Well, that was the only time he didn't have to be told 20 times to take a nap. That boy bounded up the stairs, jumped in the air, and landed in his bed with his head down at the foot of it, of course. Then his mama got the whooping cough, and baby sister got what was the croup sickness. Then, because she loved him so, his good mama warned him, "Now, little 8 John, don't you go giving yourself the Sunday moans, for fear of old Rawhead and Bloody Bones." Now, little 8 John knew that Rawhead Bloody Bones was the bones of some dead person that would come up out of the grave to haunt you. But he thought he was so tough he didn't mind. He moaned on a Sunday and moaned on a Monday and every day in between. And then, one night, it happened. Old Rawhead Bloody Bones came rising up out of the grave, came walking, stalking, looking for that bad little boy. He comes up to the porch of the house where 8 John lived, creaking across them boards. Opens the door. Someone should have oiled them hinges. Comes creaking up the steps one at a time. Opens the door to the bedroom where that bad little boy is lying, humped up under the covers. Points one bloody, bony finger at that bad little boy. And quicker than you can blow out a candle, that mean little bad little boy, little 8 John, who wouldn't mind, is nothing but a greasy-looking spot down on the kitchen table. Next morning, his mama comes down. She sees the spot. She said, I must have missed that cleaning up last night. She goes over to the sink, wets down a rag, and rubs and rubs and rubs. And when she got done, that spot was completely gone. And that was the end of little 8 John. And it could happen to you too if you don't mind your mama.